Hey, what's going on, everyone? You guys know that everyone's making videos about the iPad Pro, the new thing, new bezel-less design, everything like that. So, all these different people doing all these things. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give the people what they want. They want something else to do with the iPads. They want all these other videos. They don't want all these iPhone videos all the time. So what I did, I went ahead and I copped the very first iPad that ever came out, guys. I'm telling you right now, I bought it. I was like, yo, there's no way this thing still works. I went on it. It still worked. It still like touchscreen works and everything like that. Now, believe it or not, this thing came out in 2010, but I personally believe that this thing came out in like 2007. And for some reason, my English is not doing so well today, so please forgive me. But it actually came out in 2010, which is pretty interesting. And looking around, let's just go ahead and look around, right? You have the 9.7 inch screen up top, and it's really not that bad. I'll get into that in a second. You have the volume buttons on the side. You have a ringer switch, which is pretty interesting. I was not expecting that on the first iPad, at least. You have the power button on the side. Now look at this color scheme, okay? You have black on silver, which is so amazing. I literally love that. To give you an example, here's an iPad Pro, and they actually just put the buttons as silver, which kind of annoys me a little bit. I really wish it wasn't like that. If it could match up with this and make like black power buttons, dude, that would totally be insane. And I love Apple products, so it would have been sick. But look at the size difference, The thickness is pretty insane. And they both have 9.7 inch screens, but look at the size difference. We have much less bezel overall on the iPad Pro. And look how much thinner it is. And this one is so much faster and everything like that. So it's pretty crazy. But that's not to take away what this iPad brought. You have the standard charging port on the bottom. It takes like the one charging port that like the iPhone 4 took and the first iPhone pretty much took. You have a speaker grill on the bottom and just overall, man. And you also have nothing on the right side. But I'll tell you like this. The build quality for this thing is pretty crazy. When I went and got it, I was expecting it to be, like not as good feeling as an iPad Pro like I have here. But just something like in general, just like maybe like something like the 3GS iPhone, for example, something kind of plastic here or something like that. But I was not expecting it to be this well built. And when I actually went ahead and picked it up, I'm like, bro, this thing is way heavier than I thought. And even looking at it, just looking at the back, it looks so sleek. I personally like the design of this over something like the design of this. Now, that's kind of stupid for me to say because like this is way better of a machine. But I like how minimalistic this one looks for sure. Don't mind the sticker and stuff here. I had to peel them off. But that's pretty much the exterior, what this iPad pretty much brought on the outside. There were tablets out at that point in 2010, but I think this must have been like the best built tablet at the time. Now switching to the front, actually, we have the power button, we have the home button right here, right? And as you can see, as soon as I turn it on, we have the slide to unlock. Now I want you to look at how like amazingly smooth that like slide to unlock is. That's like 50 gigabytes of RAM right there that's powering. It looks like it, It's like no stutter. The slide to unlock logo is right there too. And it's just like functions flawlessly. So I unlock it. This one that I have here is actually running iOS 5.1.1, I believe. It's like the latest version that this phone can support, this iPad can support. And when I went into settings, I'm like, this is the weirdest thing ever. But I was like, why did they have the brightness thing there? Like, can we adjust the brightness here? And I remember that on iOS 5, you cannot do this. Even if you expand it, there's no like expandable thing. I was expecting it to be like on the right or left, but that is not the case. In order, a long time ago, for all you kiddos out there, in order for you to change the brightness on an iPad, you actually have to go into settings, and there's a tab for the brightness right there. And you also had to turn off Wi-Fi here and all these other things. I think the iPad 2 brought the cameras and everything, but it's still pretty insane that just what this iPad brought in the long term of things, really. Now, I went ahead and zoomed into the screen a lot, and the reason I did that is I want to show you how well this screen is still. It's pretty hard to show you from a distance, but from me actually using it, okay, this doesn't look like that bad of a panel. I would compare it to something like an iPhone XR. Just kidding. The funny thing is that the pixel density of this is 132 pixels per inch. It's mostly because it's such a big screen, so this thing was not near Retina screen at all. This thing was very pixelated, but at the angle I'm looking at it right now, it doesn't look too bad. Now I'm factoring in like the age of this thing and everything like that. So I'll tell you, like, if Apple made a panel that looked like this right now, people would sue them, people would cry, and I would probably like do another giveaway of like 4 iPhones next month or something like that, which I am doing. But it's pretty crazy that like this panel, for what it is, still really isn't even that bad. Now, the thing that sucks the most about this tablet, more specifically, is the iOS version that it's on. It is on iOS 5.1.1, but I don't want that to be a drawback for this thing. One crazy thing about it is that there is still some apps supported. Now, it's only one app that I found so far, which is Temple Run. But when I played it, it seemed to play pretty fine. But I'll show you some gameplay in a second. But some of the apps that we have on here, we have iMessage, which is pretty decent. I don't know if it's actually iMessage or not. Okay, so it is iMessage. That's pretty cool. I'm sure it probably doesn't work fully. I'm not even going to put my information in here because I don't want to sync up my messages on here. But that's pretty interesting. iOS 5, I'm assuming, brought a lot. You have the calendar, which, I guess it works, and honestly, it really doesn't look that bad. And dude, that's actually really, really cool. Look at that animation. This calendar looks way better than the calendar we have now. Look how, this actually looks like a legit, calendar planner. What do we have now? That's, so much better. It looks like they downgraded. You also have the Notes app, and low-key, I kind of miss how it used to look, Now, I would say the Notes app looks much better, but I kind of miss that. You have tons of other things, too. You have Maps. Let's go ahead and open it. Let's see if we can do anything with it. Okay, so we do have Maps. Let's go ahead and zoom in, and you can see that it really doesn't, stutter too much for, an 8-year-old device. I'm going to go and turn the brightness down, actually. Okay, I think you guys are going to be able to see it more. But look at that. I mean, it really doesn't stutter too much. Can you, twist the thing? No, you can't twist it, so you can only look at it one way. That's really not that bad, Okay, now when you start zooming out, you can see that it stutters quite a bit. But honestly, without being too biased or anything, it really doesn't seem that bad of a device in terms of this. Now, I'm factoring in the age. You guys are going to comment, oh wait, how are you going to say the first iPad's greater performance, but you said the iPhone XR this and that? The thing is that I bought this iPad for $20. The iPhone XR costs $750. This thing came out in 2010. That thing just came out, so I'm just trying to give you an example pretty much. Let's go into the App Store. Everything else is pretty stupid. And the reason this thing surprises me so much is that A, it turns on. B, the build quality is phenomenal for a device that came out in 2010, especially for a tablet. I'm telling you guys, tablets at the time were pretty much built out of plastic. Even now, if you go to Best Buy, if you go to any of these places, most likely the tablets are going to be built out of plastic. Now, in a case like this, for some reason, it requires me to type in my password every time. It's kind of annoying, but it's really not that big of a deal. I've tried to download so many apps. Google Chrome didn't work. Fruit Ninja didn't work. Instagram, Snapchat, all those apps didn't work either, which is expected. But it's still kind of funny when you have the first iPad, it's capable of even downloading a single app, such as Temple Run. So let's go ahead and boot this open. I was honestly not even expecting this game to work, but I eventually got it. And I think this is the only other app that works on my iPhone 3G as well. I don't really remember what my iPhone 2G, what version that stopped at. But look at that. It really, it just asked me to download Temple Run 2, but I can't even download it, I don't think. But look at that. Honestly, that performance of just the boot up logo wasn't that bad. Let's go ahead and try to play. This is going to be kind of awkward because I'm looking through the camera, but look at that, dude. Honestly, the performance is not that bad. Let's go and lean this way. It's really not that bad at all. I'm super surprised. I would have expected way worse performance, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't even expected this thing to run properly. But again, I didn't know too much about this iPad. I knew a lot about other iPads, like the iPad Pro. I've had the iPad Airs, I've had the iPad Minis, I've had the regular iPads, but I've never owned the first iPad. And I've actually had this around for over a month and a half now. And I've just been having it. I didn't even make a video about it yet. But I mean, I'll tell you this, okay? The fact that it can run this game at pretty decent speeds, I don't even think it stuttered at all. The fact that it even did that is pretty surprising in my opinion. And I'll go ahead and show you Safari real quick too, because it still looks really, really different than what it is now. You don't have this type of UI anymore with it. This is pretty much what Google loads up to. And if you try to zoom in, I mean, you can see that it's really not that bad. I've seen tablets. I have a tablet, I think a Samsung one, cheap one, probably got it for $50 at Best Buy. It was completely built out of plastic. I think it was the Samsung Galaxy Exhibit tablet. I don't remember. But even when you zoomed into something like a Google front page, it would be so choppy. But look at this. It's really not that bad. And if you go ahead and type something, let's go ahead and type in my name. You can see that it's really not that bad. That's pretty much how I would sum it up. It's not that bad overall. And that's why it surprises me, Let's see if it actually play videos or not. I don't know if iOS 5 supported video playback without the app. I don't know. I'm saying stupid stuff right now. Let's go ahead and watch the video I just posted. And I think actually we're in business. I think we can play it. And yeah, I think we're able to play it. It's a little slow, no doubt. And I'm not going to say it's the fastest thing. Hey, and we're able to play it. I wonder if the speaker works. Look at that. That's pretty crazy in my opinion. That's too much Alpaca that we got turned down. But that's pretty crazy. It's still capable of playing. Let's go ahead and see if we can take it forward a little bit. Yeah, you are. So, I mean, that's pretty surprising in and of itself. I would not have expected that. I didn't even know iOS 5 had JavaScript or whatever, so it can play these types of videos. Pretty crazy, pretty cool stuff. You can go and scroll through all the videos and everything. And, you can definitely tell it's old. You can definitely tell it's super choppy. The videos are still loading. But I'm just mostly surprised that this thing even still is capable of going on the internet. Now, I'm making it seem like this thing is a 100-year-old device or something like that. And I'm really not trying to be like that. I'm not trying to overhype it. But my expectations for Apple products go down a lot once they become older. Once they're 1 or 2 years old, I don't really expect them to be the latest and greatest as they used to be. That's why devices, especially Apple devices like the iPhone 6s, for example, which I have right here, really surprise me because they're older devices, but they're still very, very capable of doing basic tasks and even more extreme tasks, you know? This thing still rivals phones like the iPhone 10 and things like that. And when I have an older device, and this is only like 3 or 4 years old at this point, not even. This thing came out in 2015, like 3 years old. And when I see a device like the iPad, the first one, which is even older than the iPhone 6s, it's the oldest iPad out there, and this one really originated everything an iPad could do, it just kind of speaks a little bit of a different language to me. And that's why I'm super excited about these things, you know, because they're older devices. They're really not 100% usable. Like you can't really get a lot of apps on them, but they're not completely obsolete either. And you could, I guess, use it for some things, but I would not even recommend using it. But the fact that this thing is still decent at speed, the build quality is insane for a device from 2010, a tablet from 2010. It just ultimately surprises me at the end of the day. So my consensus for this thing is that the first iPad, it had a moment in time. It was revolutionary. And even at this time, it still like has a place in my heart for sure. Is it the greatest tablet ever? Probably not, obviously not. But at a time, this thing was the leading edge, was the cutting edge. This is the thing that people saved up money for and bought. And the fact that I literally bought this for like $20, $30 is insane. I feel like the metal inside of this is worth more than what I bought this tablet for. But this thing started it all. This thing started a huge revolutionary shift. And this thing, even in 2018, going into 2019 right now, still surprises me. And I have so much love for it. And, you know, that is pretty much where I'm going to leave it at. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, if you think I'm wrong or you think I'm right, leave it down in the comment section below. I'd love to read your and hear your opinions. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel that is also linked down below. I would really appreciate if you guys could check that out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.